Okay, to the first. So basically the states in white are states that do not have any sport teams. So the first team, or the first state is basically it's Arizona, it's Arizona, because Alabama and Alaska do not have sport teams. So Arizona for the NFL has the Cardinals. They have for the MLB the Diamondbacks, the NBA the Suns, and the NHL the Coyotes.
So Arizona has the Phoenix Suns. They are pretty good. They are looking pretty good with acquiring Chris Paul and letting go of Kelly Oubre, who isn't playing very well in Golden State. And I think that they will probably make the playoffs. So I'm gonna put them a 9 out of 10. 9.
So for the NFL, we have the Arizona Cardinals, who missed out on the playoffs by a little bit. But so you have Kyler Murray for them. I would rank them a 7 out of 10. And then baseball, you have the Diamondbacks, who are awful. But I'll go 4 out of 10 for them, or 3 out of 10 actually. Just do 3 out of 10. Hockey is the Coyotes, and the Coyotes they have 5 points. They're 2-2. I'd say their average is at 5.
Nice.
So Arizona is worth. Wait, just go back on it. Arizona is worth 24 points in sports out of 40.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next state is the state of California. So they have a bunch of teams. For the NFL, they have the Rams, Chargers, and 49ers. The MLB, the Angels, Dodgers, A's, Padres, and Giants. The NBA, the Lakers, Clippers, the Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, and Kings. And for the NHL, they have the Mighty Ducks, the Kings, and the Sharks. So a whole bunch of teams. So basketball. Wow, what do you think they are?
I'd say Lakers and Clippers are looking pretty good. Obviously, Kawhi and PG are going to be really good, and LeBron is the GOAT, and he's going to carry the Lakers to a playoff placement no matter what. And Warriors are looking pretty good. I'd say they will probably clinch the 8th seed, but I don't know about Sacramento. I think this is just because of Sacramento, it's going to be a 9 out of 10.
For the MLB, you have the Dodgers, which is big for me here, and you have the Padres, the A's. So 3 teams that made the playoffs. You have Mike Trout on another team, and I'm also going to go 9 for them. And in the NFL, they have the Rams, Chargers, and 49ers. So the Rams did make it to the second round of the playoffs, but I'm going to go with them. They're not the greatest. I'm going to go 7 there for them. And then for the NHL, they have the Mighty Ducks. And Anaheim is not doing too well. Are 1 and 2. The Los Angeles Kings are as well 1 and 2, and the Sharks are 2 and 3. So they're not the greatest teams. They're the 3 worst teams in the West. I'm gonna give them a 5, which is generous. So they finished with 18-25. They finished with 30 points. California finishing with 30 points, which is right now at the moment first right now in the rankings. But they do have so many states. So the next state is Colorado. They don't have as many teams here. They have in the NFL the Denver Broncos, the MLB Actually, they do have all the same amount of teams. Yeah, MLB, the Rockies, the Nuggets in the NBA, and in the NHL, they have Avalanche for those teams.
So basically, the Nuggets came off of a very good playoffs, and they were looking very, very good with bubble Jamal Murray and Jokic, and I think that they'll probably get like the 7th or the 6th seed. They're not looking as good as last year, but I think they'll pull it back. So I'm gonna give them a 7.
For the NFL, the Broncos are absolutely horrible. I'll give the Broncos a 6, being generous. For baseball, the Rockies aren't good as well. They have Nolan Arenado, so I'll give them also a 6. And the Avalanche are right now 3-2, which I am not too. It's good enough. 3-2, I guess. So we can. They are in the West leaders, so I'll give them a 7 there. So not a good performance there. A 14, 32, I believe. Sorry, no, not a 32.
30.
A 19, 20 something. So they did not do it. So first right now, and first is California still. And now we have the Florida, which has Jacksonville. For the NFL, they have Jaguars, Dolphins, Buccaneers, Rays, and Marlins, Magic, and Heat. And they have Lightning and Panthers. Basketball, you can do basketball.
Magic are absolute dog crap. They're not good. Markel Fultz is out with coronavirus. So is Vucevic. They're really falling apart. And I don't think Cole Anthony, Terrence Ross, and Aaron Gordon can put them back. But Miami, they just came off a very good playoffs. They made the finals. They gave the Lakers a pretty good run. And I think that with Bam Adebayo playing out of his mind, and with Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Goran Dragic, I do think that they will probably, at the very least, get to the conference finals. So I think that because of the Magic, I'm going to give them an 8. And yeah.
So for the NFL, they have the Jaguars, Dolphins, and Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers are currently playing in the conference championship game, and at the time we're filming this, they're winning 28-23 in the fourth quarter. They have Miami, who barely missed the playoffs. So I think Miami has a bunch of potential with Tua. You have Jacksonville, who is 1-15, so not good, but you're going to get Trevor Lawrence there. So I am going to give them a 9. You have Tom Brady. I just think that they're going to be such good quarterbacks. They have Tua, Brady, and Lawrence that are going to be down in Florida. And for the MLB, they have the Rays and Marlins, both teams making the playoffs. Marlins would not have on a regular season, I don't believe, made the playoffs. So I am going to give them here. You got the Rays, who made it to the World Series, but I think that that's an 8 for baseball. And then, as I said, a 9 for football. And in hockey, Florida has the Panthers and Lightning. The Lightning are a really good, solid team. Obviously, coming up, I believe they won last year. I'm not a hockey fan. But then you have, I just think that they are a good team. Tampa Bay right now, they're 3-1. And the Florida Panthers are 2-0, so they're good as well. I will give them an 8 as well. So Florida finishing with 24, I believe more than California did. How much did California get?
30.
Yeah, so California, I believe they finished with more than California.
Well, Florida got how many?
Here, just go back to it. Florida got 8, 9, 17, 25. Yeah, so they got more.
In
25
California,
plus 8.
they
They got 33 points, I believe. So
which is pretty good.
yeah, so Florida has good sports teams.
Currently, our leaders, and
so the next is right above it, Georgia. Georgia has. I'm not going to do it. Georgia has the Falcons, Braves, the Hawks, and no NHL team, so no hockey team. So they need to do well. So I believe that means that they cannot win right now. But you can do the basketball.
The Hawks, I think, are being very, very severely underestimated by their opponents. I think Trae Young and John Collins don't fit together. John Collins has been giving Trae Young a lot of beef, and I don't think that John Collins is the power forward slash center that Trae Young needs. And another thing is that I think that Trae Young needs his mojo back. I think that he needs to go to a team that gives him the ball every single time and that lets him do whatever he wants. He can't have players like Gallinari, John Collins, and like DeAndre Hunter. I don't think he can have those players because they're gonna ask for the ball and players like John Collins like to work the post and they probably won't space the ball that well. So I'm gonna give the Hawks a 6 because right now they are being very disappointing.
For the NFL, they have the Falcons who came in last in the division, so there's not positive, but they're absolutely horrible. I'll give them a 4, which means that they automatically can't win. They couldn't win anyways. And for baseball, they have the Braves, who are a pretty solid team. I'm gonna give the Braves an 8. They made it so they blew it, but they did blow a 3-1 lead, so an 8 for Atlanta there. So Atlanta finishing with 18, not enough, or Georgia. And the next state we have is, I believe, Illinois. So Illinois has the Bears, Cubs, White Sox, Bulls, and the Blackhawks. So what about the Bulls?
The Bulls are a decent team. They're not exactly playing very well, and I don't believe that they'll get a playoff position. I think they'll get like the 10th, 11th, 9th seed. They have good enough players to make the clinch the 8th seed in the East, but I don't think that they will just because they don't have like good surrounding pieces around Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is gonna want the ball. He's gonna want to dribble out every single person, ISO them, and I just don't think that they can do that with Wendell Carter and with I'm blanking right now. Who's their point guard? It doesn't matter. I think Chicago is pretty bad, and they won't make the playoffs. So I'm gonna give them a 5.
For the NFL, they have the Bears, who made the playoffs even though they had a horrible year. They won 8-8, and just because they made the playoffs, I will give them a 7. But that's being generous. And then baseball, they have the White Sox, and the Cubs, who both made the playoffs. Both got eliminated in the first round, but I think that's as well as 7. For the hockey, they have the Blackhawks, who are 2-3 right now. They're not having the greatest year, and again, we neither of us follow hockey at all. But I'll just go off points. I'll give them a 6, which is now 14, 19. I believe 25 or 24. I just can't do that. But so Illinois not up there.
25 points for Illinois.
Huh?
I believe it is
Yes, it's
25
it's
points.
30. It's a 25.
Next Indiana.
Is India. So Indiana has the Colts and the Pacers. The Colts and the Pacers, so you can do the Pacers.
Pacers are absolute dog water. They're not good. They just traded their franchise player in Victor Oladipo. But I do think that in a few couple of years, I think that Sabonis, Miles Turner, and Karis LeVert will be better. They won't be as young as they are right now. They'll probably be pretty good NBA players. They won't be all-star caliber apart from Sabonis, but I do believe that they will probably make the playoffs because they have been making the playoffs recently. So I'm gonna give them a 7.
So the Colts made the playoffs this year. Philip Rivers is retiring now. And I'm going to give the Colts the seed that they got. I'm going to give them 7 points, which is going to get them to 14 points.
Colts is football, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So 7 points for Indiana.
Obviously,
next
not
up
enough.
is it's Louisiana, I believe, who holds the Saints, and they have the Saints, no baseball team, and then the New Orleans, and then I forget them.
The Pelicans. And I believe that the Pelicans really have been really disappointing because they have a lot of star power. They have Zion, they have Lonzo, and they really should. They have a lot of good pieces around them. They have they have Steven Adams, they have They have Eric Bledsoe. They have everything a team would need, and somehow they're really just not playing to their strengths. Stan Van Gundy is not giving them what they want to do, and he's really just playing old school basketball, and he's really just not bringing anything good to the team, and I do believe that he will probably get fired if he doesn't turn this around, so I'm going to give them a 3.
Awesome. Well, that's a low score, and I'm going to give the Saints a 9. Getting knocked out in the divisional round, no more Drew Brees, but I'm still going to give the Saints a 9. Next up, we have the state of Maryland. So we are using Washington, D.C. as a different state. So Maryland holds the Ravens, the Orioles, and those are all. So for the Ravens, they are a very good team with Lamar Jackson. So I will give the Ravens an 8. So Baltimore from the NFL an 8. The Orioles coming in 4th, and the Orioles get a strong 3. That's being generous. So 11 points. We can double that and get them to 22. I guess we could use, but we're not gonna use doubling. We might at the end just put that into the final scores. But that's what. So that's Baltimore. That's Maryland. Next up, we have Massachusetts, who has the Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, and the Bruins. So you can do the Celtics.
Celtics are absolutely magnificent. They're playing out of their mind. They're really, really, really good, and I do believe that if Jason Tatum comes back, they're gonna make the playoffs, and possibly, I'm hoping that they'll probably make the finals. And I think if they make the finals, they're gonna win the finals. If they have Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown playing as they are playing now. So I'm going to give them a 10, first 10 of the day.
The rest of the teams aren't going to match that because the Celtics are, in my opinion, the only good team left in Boston. You have the Patriots going 7-9. They didn't have the greatest year, and I'll give the Patriots a 6. The Red Sox came in last in the division. I'll give them a 6. And this used to be like the champion city, and now not really anymore. And then hockey, have the Bruins right now, who are third. They are 3-1, so they have 7 points. I'll give them an 8. Boston finishing
currently tied with California,
32, which is short. Sorry.
No, they're 30, I think.
Yeah, 30.
They're tied with Cali, I think.
So 30, but no. So right now in first is Florida with 33. So they are short of that. And our next state is Michigan, who has the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, and the Red Wings. So what about the Pistons?
Pistons are absolutely terrible. They're really bad. They have retiring all-stars like Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose. They have not good contributing pieces. They got rid of Christian Wood, their only future, and they brought in a bunch of old and young players. And I do think that the only spark that this team have are the um picks that they're going to have in the draft, because they're probably going to be very good, because I'm giving them a 1.
So that is the lowest score of the day so far. For the MLB, we have, or for the NFL, we have the Lions, who are also as bad as them. The Lions deserve a 5, though. I'll go with that. The Tigers don't deserve anything good either. I'll give the Tigers a 4. And for hockey, Detroit at the moment is 2-4. They are not playing their best season ever, but they've lost 2 in a row. So I'm going to go for Detroit. I'm going to give them 3. So so they are not doing the greatest. They have barely any points. 13 points for Michigan. The next team is Minnesota, who has the Vikings, the Twins, the I believe the Avalanche, and
The
they have
I think.
the Wild. Am I correct that they have the Avalanche?
They have the Timberwolves, I believe.
Oh, well, they're the same. Okay, never mind. But the Timberwolves.
Alrighty, so the Timberwolves are absolute dog water, and they shouldn't be. I don't think that they should be bad. They have Cat, they have D'Angelo Russell, they have Josh Okogie, who I don't think you'd classify as a star, but he's a pretty good defender, like a top 10 defender in the NBA. That's not a star. And I do think that with Anthony Edwards, the number 1 pick in the draft, with D'Angelo Russell, a certified superstar, and with Karl Anthony Towns, they should really be doing better. And I think that this season, without Cat in the team because of coronavirus, I believe that they are going to be a 6. Because even though that Cat is out and they're playing absolutely abysmal right now, I do think that they're going to pull it back and they might probably make the playoffs.
For the NFL, the Vikings, who were having a good season, they're in the 7th seed for a little bit of time, but then sort of fell back. I'm going to give them as well a 6. For the Twins, they do well in the regular season, but they choke in the playoffs, and I'm going to give the Twins a 7. And hockey, they have the Minnesota Wild, who right now are 4-1. They're having a good year. I'm going to give Wild an 8, which is, I believe, short of the highest score. That's 27 points for Minnesota. The next state is Missouri. And Missouri holds the Chiefs, and even though the Chiefs are Kansas City, they are technically Missouri. They play in Missouri, or in that Missouri part. So Kansas City Chiefs, the Royals, and the Cardinals, and then the St. Louis Blues. So the Chiefs are going to give them a 10 because they're the Chiefs. For baseball, the Cardinals I believe the Cardinals actually did make the playoffs. Royals are not the greatest team. I'll give them a 5 for baseball. And I believe that those are the Blues won the finals a few years ago, which is they're having a good year this year. They're 3-1. So I will give them a 7. So that is going to be short as well of Florida right now. That's currently in first place. But the next state is the state
Nevada,
of Nevada, who holds the Raiders, the hockey team, the Knights. So the Raiders had a pretty good year. well, they had an okay year. I'll give the Raiders a 7. And the Knights, um, the Vegas Knights right now are 4-1. They're having a good year. I'll give the Knights a 9, which is still short of their distance. So 9 for the Knights, and so 9. So totaling up, not enough to beat Florida, but they don't have enough teams. Anyways, and the next state is the state of New Jersey, who only has one team, I believe, in New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't think they have any basketball teams.
No, yeah. So they have one. They have the New Jersey Devils, who at the moment are 2-1, having an okay year. I'll just give them a 6.
What are they?
They're 2-1 right now, but I'm gonna give them a 6.
No, but I think are they baseball or hockey?
They're hockey.
Okay, 6.
Okay, so even if we were to quadruple that, that's still short by a lot. So the next state is the state of New York. Well, it's a bunch of teams in New York. They have the Jets, Giants, Bills, Yankees, Mets, Nets, Knicks, and then they have the Sabres. I don't know, the Islanders and the Rangers. So let's start off in basketball with the Nets and the Knicks.
The Knicks are, they're not bad. Like, they're not as bad as last year, but obviously they're nothing special. And I don't believe that they will make the playoffs this year. I believe they'll be like the 12th or the 11th seed. And I think that the Nets recently acquiring James Harden are obliged to make the conference finals, or else it's going to be very sad. And if the Nets don't make the conference finals this year, next year I'll probably rate them as a 0. Trust. And for that, I'm going to give them an 8. Well, a 9 actually.
For NFL, you have the Jets, who just are throwing me off, the Giants, and the Bills. But the Bills are making the Giants almost did make the playoffs, but the Bills are a good team. But because of the Jets, I'm going to take 3 points away from them. I'm going to go with the 7 for football. For baseball, they have the Yankees and the Mets. The Mets, I believe, are a team that has been in a rebuilding stage, and I think that they have potential. The Yankees as well are a very good team. I'm going to give them a 9. And then hockey is just really not the greatest to them. The Islanders are 3-1. I give them that. The Rangers are 1-2. Buffalo's 1-3. So I'll give them a 5, which leaves them at 30 points, which is short by 3 points. But hockey is really killing them. Football, you just have the Jets. If you take the Jets out, and the Jets you could count as New Jersey teams, but they're the New York Jets, so I'm gonna give. I kept those in New York, so 30 points for New York. Short Florida remains in first place. North Carolina, I believe there's only one team in North Carolina. Oh no, there's actually 2 or 3. Sorry, but they have the Carolina Panthers, Charlotte Hornets, and the Carolina Hurricanes. So the Hornets are the NBA, so you can do that.
One word for you, LaMelo Ball. I think that's all they need, and that's all they're going to get this year because they really don't have much else. They have Vontae Graham. I don't think they're good. I don't think he's good. I don't think that P.J. Washington is at his full potential yet. Cody Zeller is a terrible center. And Malik Monk is a waste of a draft pick. And I believe that they are I want to say 3, but because they have LaMelo, I'm going to give them a 4.
For the NFL, the Panthers had an awful year as well. I'll give them a 4 as well. And for hockey, you have the You have the Hurricanes, which is they're 2-1, and we're using only this year's stats for the NHL because we don't follow it. So Carolina 2-1. I'm gonna give that. Not only that, can get them a solid 6, which is leaving them way short. Our next one is Ohio. That has the Bengals and the Browns, the Indians and the Reds, or I guess the Indians are changing their football team name, the Cavaliers, and the Blue Jackets. So the Cavaliers.
The Cavaliers are. I don't know. I'm conflicted. I don't know about them. I think that Andre Drummond is really, really trying his hardest to play like an MVP when he's really not. He's trying to hit 20 and 20, and I really think that's not who he is. He might get that at one night or 2 nights, but I don't think he's going to average that in the whole season. And when you have a center in 2021 carrying your NBA team, that's how you know you're trash. And I'm going to give you a 4.
For the MLB, you have the NFL, because they're that, the Browns and the Bengals. The Browns almost beat the Chiefs, and the Browns almost beat the Chiefs, but but yeah, the Bengals, who had an off year as well. I think Bengals are some come, but I'll give them a 5 there. Baseball, you have for baseball, you have the Indians, which they're changing their names to, and the Reds were both not the greatest teams. The Indians did make the playoffs; they did get first in the division, but I'm still going to go for the Indians. We can give them a 6 for them. And hockey, the Blue Jackets right now are second in the Central, followed by Tampa Bay, but they are 2-2. They have the same amount of points as Tampa Bay. They're not. They're 2-2 with the 2 overtime losses, 6 points. I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna give Columbus, just because they're in second, a 5, which leaves them at 20 points. And I'm not counting overtime losses in hockey. But our next team is Oregon. Oregon holds the Trailblazers, and that is all.
The Trailblazers are gonna get carried, just like last year. Damian Lillard's gonna put them on his back, and with the help of C.J. McCollum, Melo, and Rocco, I think they're gonna make the playoffs as the 8th, 7th, or 6th seed. So I'm gonna put them as a 7.
Okay, so the next state is Pennsylvania, who holds a bunch of teams. They have the Steelers and the Eagles, the Phillies and the Pirates, the 76ers, and the Flyers and the Penguins. So let's start off with the 76ers.
76ers are, well, 76ers are an interesting team. They have been pretty well, but they've been known to choke in the playoffs. And I don't know if I can take one more year of trusting the process, as they say. I think that if they don't make it this year, they're going to blow it all up. And I believe that Ben Simmons is not looking like an MVP candidate like he did last year. Joel Embiid is really carrying them. Tobias Harris is not looking like an all-star quality player this year. And I don't think that they're going to be exceptionally well, but I think they will make the playoffs as the 3rd, 4th, or 5th seed. So I'm going to give them an 8.
In the MLB, they have the Pirates and the Phillies. Both teams missing the playoffs. Pirates, the worst team in baseball. Phillies, they're Joe Girardi. We can give them a generous 4. In baseball. In football, they have the Eagles and the Steelers. And the Steelers' last game is just really taunting me. They were losing 28-0 after the first quarter. the Eagles didn't even make the playoffs, but Pittsburgh was a good team this year, and I'm going to give them a 7. And then hockey. Oh, I forgot about hockey here. Hockey. They have Pittsburgh. They have the Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who right now are 3-2, 6 points, and okay. But they also do have the Penguins, and the Penguins are doing well, 3-2-1, or 3-2, and then that overtime loss, so 7 points, which is I'm gonna give them 4 points there. So that's short as well, 10 points short. And the next state that we have is the state of we're almost done with them here, Tennessee. Both the Tennessee Titans and the Grizzlies. Wait, no, it's not the Grizzlies, is it?
I believe it's Memphis Grizzlies, and I think.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it's Memphis. And then they have the Predators for the NHL. So you can start off with the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies don't have a very good team. They have a very young team, and I do believe that Ja Morant, when he's on the court, you can see a visible difference than when he's not on the court. And I do think that every time Ja Morant's on the court, he makes those around him better, such as Dylan Brooks, Brandon Clark, Triple J, and Jonas Valanciunas. And I believe that that's a team that, commanded by Ja Morant, will make the playoffs this year. And I'm going to give them a 6, because I don't think they'll make it very far, because they are a relatively young team, apart from Jonas Valanciunas.
So the Tennessee Titans for the NFL made the playoffs, got knocked out by Baltimore. Last year they had a good playoff run, beating Baltimore and New England in the playoffs. But Tennessee, I'll give them a 7 for the NFL. And for the NHL, they have the Nashville Predators, who at the moment, just have to find them here, are 2-2. They have 4 points right now, and I'll give them a 4. We can go up to 5 actually for them. So they're finishing short as well. They only do have 3 teams though, so that is big for the teams that only have 3. But the next one we have Texas, who has a bunch of teams. They have the Cowboys and the Texans, the Rangers and the Astros, the Rockets, the Rockets, the Spurs, and then the other team, I forget what their name is, and Dallas Stars. So you can do the NBA, who they have they have the Rockets, Spurs,
Mavericks,
and then I don't know.
They have Rockets, Mavericks, Spurs, and I do believe that Rockets are not making the playoffs this year, and they're gonna be bad. That's a reality that people need to come to. Without James Harden, the Rockets aren't anything, because they give up on their second stars immediately, like they did with Russell Westbrook, or they give them really bad treatment for like about 2 to 3 years, like they did to Chris Paul. And I don't believe that they're gonna make it this year without James Harden. San Antonio is a meh team. I believe they are like 6-7 or something. Like, they're not very good, but they're not insanely bad. And the Mavericks, now this is a good team. Luka Doncic, KP, and basically everybody else was pretty bad. But KP and Luka Doncic are probably going to bring them to the playoffs, so I'm going to give them a 7 just for that.
In the MLB, they have the Rangers and the Astros. The Astros did make the playoffs this year, but we can give Texas a 1 for baseball because of the cheating scandal in Houston. I'm going to give them a 1, which is hurtful for them, but they didn't cheat. Football, you have the Cowboys and the Texans. Neither team making the playoffs this year, but you did not have Dak Prescott on the other side. But just for that, I'm gonna give them. And Deshaun Watson did have a good year, so I'm gonna give them a 7 in the NFL. And then hockey, and Dallas has only played one game, so that we can't really judge that. But they won that game, so we can give them a 5, I guess. So they are short. They have 20 points. And then we only have a few states left. We have Utah now, who holds the Utah Jazz, and that is all.
Utah Jazz are looking very good. They are, I believe, third in the conference at the time of making. And I think that they're going to make the playoffs this year. Obviously, probably not going to get far because their team is pretty bad. Apart from Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, who has had the coronavirus scandal, as you all know, where he touches all the mics in the press room, and then he gets the coronavirus. Yeah, just for that, I'm gonna give them a 2.
So that is the only team in Utah. So 2 points, which you could quadruple that and get them to 8 points only. The next state is the state of Virginia,
which is in
that.
Oh, it is.
Holds. They have. Actually, they don't actually have any teams.
Oh.
Maybe we missed that when we were going through. Washington is next, though. They have Seattle, and they have the Seattle Seahawks and the Seattle Mariners. Seahawks had a good year this year, and for the NFL Seahawks, I'll give them a 7. And the Mariners, I'll give for the MLB, I'll give the Mariners 4. They're just really awful, so I'll give them a 4.
Are they baseball or hockey?
Baseball, yeah.
Oh, okay. 4.
4 for Seattle. And our next, we only have a couple left here. And we actually skipped over Oklahoma by accident. So we can go back to Oklahoma.
And I believe
and we skipped over
DC.
Actually,
I believe we skipped over DC as well.
No, we still have that one left because that's Washington. But so we can go to Oklahoma, which I don't believe we have done yet. That has the Thunder, and that's their only team in Oklahoma.
Thunder are a very young team, as everybody knows. They just keep on stockpiling draft picks and draft picks and draft picks. They are probably going to be very bad and probably not going to win a lot of games. They're probably just going to be a top 3 lottery contender. And next year they're going to be much better with the rookies coming in and with the younger players from a few drafts ago becoming much better. I'm going to give them a 3.
Okay, and we did Indiana, right?
Yeah. I think all we need to do is Wisconsin and
so yeah, we have Wisconsin left, and I believe Wisconsin is the only state left because I believe we did Colorado. So yeah, so Wisconsin is the only state remaining that is left, and I'll center the map here. Wisconsin is the only state left, and they have the Packers, the Brewers, the Bucks, and no hockey team. So what about the Bucks?
The Bucks the Bucks hold the MVP, like Giannis, and I think that Giannis is going to carry them to a playoff spot, probably top 3 to 2, and I'm going to give them a 10 because they are a very good team.
So the Packers are also very solid team that currently are losing 31-26 at the time we're making this video. I don't know if they won. I don't know if they lost. There's a minute 34 left in the fourth quarter with Tampa Bay with the ball. But I'm going to give them, they got the 1 seed. Aaron Rodgers had an MVP year. So I'm going to give them a 9 in football, which is now I believe they have 19 points right now, which I don't believe that they can beat the I don't believe that they can win actually over Florida. But still, we have the Brewers, who are the Brewers. I believe I forget what place they came in, but they didn't have a good year despite even making the playoffs. They came in fourth in the division, still made the playoffs. But they're a solid team. I can give them a 6 there, but they're not the best team there. So leaving them with 25 points. And I believe that is all the teams here. You can see that we left a lot of them blank. So the best sports state based off our rankings is the state of Florida. So Florida is apparently the best one based off our rankings. Florida.
I believe
holds. Oh no, we forgot the DC.
We
Actually,
forgot DC.
DC's not even it's not a state, but so DC holds the Washington football team, the Washington Nationals, the Washington Capitals, and the Washington Wizards. So all 4 sport teams, they actually can come on top, but they need 34 points to come on top. So what's your ranking for them?
I'm sorry, but it's not possible with this score that I'm going to give them. Well, I'm going to give them hope. I'm going to give them a 4, even though the Wizards are absolutely abysmal this season, playing really bad. And I feel like the Russell Westbrook trade did them dirty. They're playing like as if they were still playing without John Wall, except now they have a $40 million contract on their hands. So it's really bad.
So they can now win, but they need 10s, and they need a 10 in football, and they have the football team. They need a 10 in baseball, they have the Nationals, and they need a 10 in hockey, and they have the Capitals. The football team, hopefully it's changing their name because they don't have a good game at all. But I'm going to give the football team a solid 7 because they made the playoffs, came in first, but they were in an absolutely horrible division. Baseball, here they have the Nationals, who came in last, but they are coming off a World Series win, which is why I'm going to give them 6th. I'm going to give them 6th place here. Now here we have the for the NHL, the Capitals, who at the moment are in first place in the East. Right now, 6-3, so they have 9 points. They're 3-0. My bad, 3-0. They've lost 3 games in overtime, so they haven't lost a game yet. But in regular time. But I'm gonna give them a let's see. We'll give them, because they are undefeated and they are in first. I'll give them a 7. So they are coming up short of a little bit, of 24 points. So Florida, based off our rankings, now I can say this is the best team, holding the Jaguars, which is really one of the only bad teams there. Dolphins, Buccaneers, Braves, Marlins. Not Braves. Rays and Marlins, Magic and Heat, and Lightning, and the Lightning, and the Panthers. So, thanks for watching this video.
Yeah, and don't forget to check his video, his side of the video, and yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe for both of us. And if you want to see any more collaborations in the future, just comment down below, and we'll be sure to reply.
Yeah, both of our channels are in the description of this video.
Yeah.